So first of all, thank you all so much for joining. We are very happy to have everyone here, and we are very grateful for our panelists. We only have Maki here at this point, but Tammy and Yujeong will be joining shortly. And we are very grateful that you are taking the time to join us and to share about your experiences. Okay. Can anyone see my screen, by the way? It's telling me that it's not working, but let me know if you can see it on your end.
Yeah, I could see it when you started trying to share, but then it's now white, so I could see part of your computer, but not the slides.
Okay, let me try this again then. Okay. Is this better?
You got it.
Great. Okay. So this is a topic that was like heavily requested by the international students that are currently in the program. As Maki, you probably know this from your experience, but it can be confusing to start to make some decisions about what to do after you graduate from the program, what types of careers to pursue. If some students have questions about whether they want to stay in the US or go back home or go to another country to pursue jobs either in social work or in adjacent fields. So it's great to hear from people who have been through the process and who are then able to share their insights. So for this panel, we are going to be starting with some general introductions that each of our panelists have prepared. And then we're going to go over some questions that we have already prepared in advance that are reflective of some general questions that we tend to get from students when they ask about alumni and their experiences. And then we'll have an open Q&A, so anyone who is currently on the Zoom call can ask any questions that they have that haven't already been answered. So we are going to be starting with Maki. If you would like to unmute and share about yourself and introduce yourself to everyone who's here and everyone who's watching the recording, that would be great.
Thank you, Saria, and thank you so much for inviting me to join this panel session. I'm very honored to be back. So my name is Maki Usui, and she, her, hers pronoun. I'm Japanese, and my MSW program track was community organizing, children and youth in families and society, and I also participated in the Global Activity Scholars Program. I actually graduated in winter 2019, so it seems like a long time ago. And currently I'm working for Peace Winds Japan. It's Japan-based international agency. I'm located in Tokyo right now as a senior desk officer for Uganda and South Sudan program. So this agency basically is again, an international agency working on humanitarian emergency response all over the world, from like refugee response to natural disaster response. But my program, Uganda and South Sudan program, mainly provides assistance for Congolese refugees and South Sudanese refugees. Refugees, IDPs, returnees, but mainly focusing on vulnerable communities like women and children, elderly persons, and persons with disabilities. And let's see what else. My responsibility in the job is coordination, program designing, grant writing, fundraising, budgeting, security management, report writing and monitoring and evaluation. Some of the highs in this job is obviously hearing positive feedback, real voices from the beneficiaries in the program, how our programs have impacted their lives positively. And some of the major lows is that as I enter this job, the COVID-19 hit. So I was hoping to be working within Uganda, but even just there were huge movement restrictions, so I had to stay in Tokyo for a long time. Right now I'm more or less based in Tokyo, doing online, how do you say it? I'm not in field, but I'm doing how do you say it? I'm doing more like the backup office work. Yeah. And there's also like other risks, like there's Ebola virus disease spreading in Uganda right now. So there are also those kind of risks. And then unfortunately, there's like lack of funding in this humanitarian aid world everywhere. So there's so much needs all over the world, but there's like, so you have to prioritize who to provide assistance. And it's really heartbreaking to see that there's so much more that you want to do, but you cannot. So those are the lows. And I think that was the intro questions that I got. So that's me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. That was super comprehensive and also really interesting to hear about what you've been doing and just the broad array of things that you've been doing. So thank you so much for that. And if anyone has any questions for Maki that you have on your mind, you can either hold on to them for the Q&A or start writing them in the chat, and then we'll get to them when we get to that section if you think you might forget about them. So next up, we have Yujeong here. So if you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself, that would be great.
Hello everyone. My name is Yujeong Chang. I go also by Julie, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And currently, I just graduated from the MSW program this April, and I'm currently working as a project manager for one project, and also involved in 3 different research projects as a research specialist. I'm currently preparing to apply to PhD programs for the upcoming semester, and I'm using this 1 year to build up my practice experience as well as research experience. And what I primarily do is I usually am involved in research that examines multi-level factors that contribute to or shape children's development. And also I'm interested in examining resilience pathways or protective factors that can help to empower youth who have been through childhood adversity or trauma. Yep. Was that too short?
No, that was great. Thank you. If you could just share generally some like highs and lows of the job that you're currently doing, what are the things that you're liking, what are the things that you're not liking as much, and if you would like to share a bit about how you're managing like job and also grad school applications, you'd also be welcome to do so.
Yeah, so yep, I actually wrote down every like prompts that you sent me, Saria. And I think this is too long, so I'm trying to figure out how I can like summarize it. Yeah, so to be honest, I also have a baby, so like I have to do baby care and work full time and also do grad applications. So it was really tough to get through. So actually my mom came from Korea to help me out with some of my work, and I also have some support from my spouse. So they're helping out me a lot, and I keep a very tight schedule like timeline so that I can keep track of all the stuff I have to do. And yep, should I like introduce which research projects I'm involved in, or?
Yeah, I think that would be definitely interesting to some of the people who are here. I know there are a lot of students who are interested in engaging with some research going on at the school, so it would be great for them to know what is already being done and what you're engaging with.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm involved in 4 different projects. To just briefly go over, I'm involved in trauma-informed programs and practices for school, where I primarily, this is not a super research focus, but I'm designing and developing trauma-informed training for K-12 teachers. We're also doing some qualitative paper based on like how our framework is usable and how it's feasible when it's applied to K-12 schools in the United States. And I'm also doing some presentations, attending conferences that involve school social workers or school professionals to introduce the framework. The second one is really focused on just the evaluation of a program, which is a positive early childhood care education program. I'm usually doing program evaluation work with data processing and data analysis, also creating some focus group interview protocols, and conducting interviews with people engaged in the program. The third one is a unique one. It's from the Department of Psychology. I don't get paid for this job, but it was just, I'm volunteering because I'm super interested in this work. So I'm responsible for running full day study visits, which I just completed. And I was able to gain a lot of experience running how to scan MRI scans and looking at like some neurodevelopmental data of adolescents who had adversity during their childhood. I'm also running some psychiatric interviews to see which mental health disorders the participants have based on like the DSM-5, also doing some intelligence assessments and collecting biomarker data. And also I'm involved in the Lehigh Longitudinal Study Research Project, and that's pretty much really closely related to the correlations and consequences of child maltreatment. And this is usually doing some both quantitative and qualitative data analysis and doing very extensive amount of lit review on child maltreatment papers. And yep, that's pretty much it. Those are my 4 projects.
I love how you said that's pretty much it so casually. It's like, oh, that's pretty much it. You know, I'm not just doing 1,000,001 things right now with different projects all at once. So thank you for sharing that. It's definitely very interesting. I'm assuming, are you applying to the joint social work psychology program here? Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you've built up a really good portfolio, so good luck with that. I think our third panelist, Tammy, hasn't joined yet, so I think we will just, so this is her introduction. This is the same one that was in the announcement for the event that you all already saw, but once Tammy joins, then we'll have her introduce herself similarly to how Maki and Yujeong already have. But in the meantime, I think we can start with some of these questions, and then hopefully Tammy will join soon, so she'll be able to answer them as well. So I think we can start with our first question here, which is if you could please discuss how you feel the MSW program prepared you and or did not prepare you for the position that you currently have. And either one of you can go ahead and start.
I can start. So I am, like I said, I work for an NGO right now, and maybe some of you have experience working in NGO, but you pretty much have to do everything. So MSW program really helped me become a multitasker, doing from like running everything from coordination and budgeting and grant writing, fundraising, all of that. So my focus was on global, how to say, community organizing. It was kind of like a mezzo level pathways, but I was able to take more macro social work classes like grant writing and evaluation and stuff, and those skills are really helping me with my current job. And also because I took the global pathways and did like summer field experience at refugee camp in Greece, that really gave me some background experience in working with refugees. Also, I wrote in the intro passage, but I also did some research on Congolese refugees living in the United States. And right now I'm working with Congolese refugees. So like knowing what happens after they go to the US and knowing like how they live in the refugee camp, knowing both sides really helped me with my current job.
That's great, thank you. Yeah, it seems like a combination of like classes, field, and also some of your own work doing research like helped you build different types of skills that you are now, or like different forms of knowledge too that you now can draw on. Are there any things that you wish you would have been more prepared for through the MSW program, or maybe opportunities that were available but maybe you didn't have time for, or but that you now say, oh, I think that class or that experience would have helped me? And the answer could be no. I'm just curious.
I think I knew what I wanted to do while I was in the programs. I really I was very mindful of what classes to take, and I even like overloaded my class load. So I don't know if that was a good idea, but right now I feel like everything that I learned in the program is helping me. So yeah, so the answer is no for that question.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Yujeong, would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. So I think it prepared me to be in this position very much. The MSW program itself, I think I gained a lot of expertise and also understanding of the United context in the field, that child maltreatment field that I want to do research on. Through my first field placement, since I was a 20-month student, I had 2 field placements. So during my first field placement, I did foster care and adoption agency, where I was able to see like what kind of DEI issues were present within the system, and also get to know really about the child welfare system within the United States context. And also my second field placement, because my interest is really like clinical work with children and adolescents, I was able to provide like clinical treatment, therapy, and also do clinical assessment based on DSM-5, which allowed me to do the clinical interviews right now as a research assistant in the psych lab. And also I was also like, I overtook courses because I wanted to listen to some research related courses, but my pathway was like really geared toward like mental health. So I took some electives on like the advanced statistics or like data visualization courses. So that allowed me to gain some research skills and some basic knowledge on how to run statistics through like using statistical software programs. And lastly, I guess like the independent study program, which is like a 1-credit program, and you can do whatever you want, like you're interested in. I had a very hard time finding a faculty who would like support me through that study, but I really met this wonderful person, Beth Sherman, in our School of Social Work. And she was very like explicit about what's your goals, like what do you want to learn. And that's how I got involved in all of these different research projects running right now. She connected me with different faculty members so that I can like learn and be engaged in research projects that I was interested in. So I think I had a very wonderful experience with the MSW program, and it really prepared me a lot.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how you combine both your micro and macro experiences, like to prepare you for the role that you're currently in and how it informs like your lens and the work that you're currently doing. And yeah, definitely like the use of the independent study, not just for that one experience in that one semester, but also as a networking opportunity, is definitely really cool. I think we can move to our second question, which is, and you both kind of already started answering it, but if you would like to expand on it or either just like reiterate or add more to what you have already said, if you could please share if there are any specific experiences you had or classes you took during your time as an MSW student that you feel prepared you for your current position, or that you would specifically recommend for someone who's looking to get into a position similar to the one that you currently have.
I can go first this time, maybe. Yep, I mentioned it right before, but yeah, because my pathway like didn't have like required courses, like the research methods and stuff that I wanted to do for my career. I took all those like advanced statistics and data visualization classes. Those two are my like the ones I really wanted to take, because I wanted to learn how to use R to do statistics. And also I didn't know anything about stats before taking the class. So it was a very good opportunity. Although like the name is advanced, it's really not that advanced. So like anyone who doesn't have any foundational knowledge can also follow the course flow very well. So I think that helped me a lot. And specific experiences, I mentioned like being very strategic in choosing your field placement, connecting that to your career goals, and also using independent study for social networking with faculty members that you're interested in, and also like really being able to develop the skills you want to develop throughout the program, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. That's all very helpful. Maki, is there anything you would like to add, or do you feel like you kind of already covered it?
I can elaborate on what I already said, but if any of you are thinking about working for international NGOs or like UN agencies, that sort of thing, I really highly recommend taking like budgeting and management and evaluation courses. You don't have to take all of them, but like I took like 1 or 2 classes, and that even helped. So I think I highly recommend that. Also, like as Julie said too, using the independent study courses. I did the research independent study, and I wanted to do any some sort of research working with like international international community. So the first semester, I believe, I started looking for faculty who does research on that sort of focus, and I got connected to Professor Odessa, and that's how I started as a research independent study, and then that led to like becoming her research assistant. I got connected to different faculty members, and like that's how I did the research with the Congolese refugees. So really start looking for, if you are interested, start looking for it earlier in your course, because 1.5 or 2 years of the program is really short. It just flies by. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, thank you. It seems like for both of you, the independent studies played a big part, but also not being afraid to dip into other pathways through the electives, just to supplement like skills that you feel like you are not necessarily directly getting through your pathway, but that fall in line with what you want to do. So Tammy has just joined us. Hi, Tammy. How are you?
Hi everyone. I'm so sorry I'm late. I just got home, but I think it's a good time to show you guys just like how a nursing home social work look like daily life.
Thank you. No, we really appreciate like for all of you for joining either like in the middle of your workday, Maki is in Japan, or like right after your long work days for Yujeong and Tammy. So thank you so much for being here, and don't worry about it.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, actually.
No, of course, we're happy to have you. So we had already started with some of the questions, but if you would like to introduce yourself to everyone who's attending, we're also recording the session for people who aren't able to attend. So if you'd like to give an overview of what you study in the MSW program, what you're doing now, and then afterwards, if you could start to briefly answer some of the first 2 questions, which we already went over, which is just how you feel the MSW program prepared you or didn't prepare you for the job you have now, and if you have any specific experiences or classes that you think were important in that, or that you would recommend for anyone who is interested in getting a job similar to the one you have.
Sure. I think, okay, so it will be my time right now. Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Tammy. My legal name is Man Wang, and my pronouns is she, her, hers. And I think, okay, I came to school, I think in 2019, and I graduated last year, 2021. I just graduated and got my job in New York City. My track was community organization with children, youth, and families. But right now I ended up with old adults, so it's a long story. I can talk about that. What else? Yeah, so that's basically my track, and I was in school for 3 years due to the COVID, and plus I had one extended semester. So I think that's some program you guys can just like talk about with faculties in the school of social work. I when I was in school, I worked with Katie here and in the Office of Global Activities and also in the International Center. It's kind of funny because I didn't do anything with children, youth, and families. Even my major was in children, youth, and families. I was in love with children, youth, and families. And I joined a professor's program in the last semester with old adults. So because of that experience and helped me get this job in New York City. So I'm in the nursing home right now. I think AKA nursing home social worker or healthcare social worker or medicine social worker or whatever, you know. So basically I'm just like doing the coordinative things, just like coordinating doctors, nurses, care, CNAs, was that it's clinical nursing assistant, and also healthcare agencies, insurance companies, and hospitals, and patients, which is our main focus, and also their families. So it's just like a lot, right now I have 8 patients under my cases. So I need to working for those 8 patients and everything around them. Basically what I was doing just like admissions, people from hospital or other places, and then discharge. So that's main responsibilities I need to do. Other than that, just like in-house services, quote customer services, when they are in our facility, what they need, just like from food, and to just like when do they want to get a shower, and what kind of food does they like, and can they take some sugar, Pepsi, something like that. And I need to double check with dietitian, nutrition, so all those kind of stuff. So my working schedule like 7:30 to 5:30, Monday to Friday, but we do have some holidays off and sick days off. How do I find this job? I went to LinkedIn, Indeed.com. I think my case maybe not a good example for everyone because I didn't make any plans. I graduated in December 2021. So I came to New York right away. I only have, I think, 2 months to find a job, and I didn't do it in January, and because I cannot just like deal with my personal stuff. I wait until I think the last day to find a job, because as an international student, we do have, I think, 2 months grace period to find a job, because you will get your OPT and your OPT will have a start date. But after that start date, you have 60 days to find a job. So I wait until the last day and I find the job. The reason why I picked up this job, I think one of the reasons is because they will sponsor my H1B. They agreed to help me apply for H1B, but unfortunately I didn't get this for this year, because this year they only have 1 round lottery. Jeez, there's no another second round, third round, so I didn't get it. So my visa status right now is I only have 3 months left staying in the United States. But yeah, it's a sad story, but I need to figure that out. Maybe I will go back to school. Who knows? But yeah, that's my visa status. So I think that's pretty much my story right now. And I think I'll just like go to next, Sadia.
Thank you so much for sharing. And like, as just a person, navigating the US healthcare system is so complicated. So to do that as your job and balance like the more clinical aspects of it too sounds like a lot. I'm very sad to hear about your H-1B situation, but hopefully you'll be able to find a solution that will work for you. Fingers crossed. I think so Yujeong and Maki both already answered the first two questions here. So if you would like to share how you feel like the MSW program prepared you or didn't prepare you for your current position, and if there are any specific experiences or classes you took during your time as a student that you feel prepared you for the position you're in now. I know you already mentioned that you worked with a professor in your last semester, working with older adults, but if you would like to expand on that or talk about any other experiences that you think are relevant, that would be really helpful.
I think, okay. I think I discussed about that with Katie a lot when I was in school about my passion. I think my passion is still with children, youth, and families. Even though I think, okay, first of all, I think I choose social work this career and I really love it. Even though I work with old adults right now, but I'm a social worker. I really appreciate that I am a social worker. Even though I'm working old adults, actually it's just like hospice care. Most of them, they're just like lying there. At the very beginning, it's quite difficult to accept that they only have maybe several months of life, maybe 1 week. You just admitted them today and tomorrow you need to arrange the funeral home, something like that. It's quite difficult to accept all those kind of things to me because I never thought about I will working with all the adults and in this situation. I think in New York City, there are a lot of opportunities for international students to work as a social worker. And actually they have some connections, they have some connection groups, WeChat groups and the Facebook groups. It's quite, actually, honestly, in New York City, they're in high need of social worker who can speak Mandarin, who can speak Cantonese, who can speak Korean, Japanese, any language you have as a second language, it's highly needed. So I would say, I think end up in New York City is kind of a good option for me. As you guys may say, just like I joined this Zoom meeting is not in my account, actually in my roommate's account, because I just like messaged her, I don't have time, please help me. So she just like logged in with her account. So actually she was a social work cohort in Michigan as well. And she is in Columbia University right now as a doctoral graduate student. So I think it's kind of just like, I feel like I take some advantages from them. So I just like came here, find some cohorts and just like be in room with them. So I kind of just like decrease some life burden or life pressure, something like that. So kind of get some support here. I don't know how to say the timeline because I feel like my timeline cannot be, mimic because my timeline is not a good example, so don't follow me. As for the licensure, I want to say just like, please, if you can, try to get the test as soon as possible. Whatever state you want to go, maybe pass the license as soon as possible, because if you get approved in, I don't think you can take the test in Michigan, but in New York City you need to take the test first, then you can get your LMSW, licensed master social work. So right now I didn't get the test because I'm kind of lazy. So, but I'm right now I'm temporary LMSW because I got supervised by my supervisor, so I can get my temporary permits. So it's okay. I need to get my test done as soon as possible. I know, yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
We actually just covered the first two questions.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. This is definitely helpful and like in the context of everything else you shared. If you want to take a little break so you can catch up.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Of course. So I guess Tammy already shared that she found her position through like online job boards and also through like the U-M MSW network, it seems like, some international student networks. Yujeong and Maki, does either one of you or both of you want to share how you found your current position and any tips do you have?
Okay. Okay, I can go first. So I started looking for jobs in the summer before graduation. So I graduated in winter 2019. I started looking for a job like the summer semester prior to that graduation. So about 6 months before graduation. And the tool that I used mainly was, so before entering MSW program, I was a JICA volunteer. JICA is Japan International Cooperation Agency. It's a program similar to Peace Corps in the US. So they have the specific job search website that's open for some of the volunteers, like post volunteers, and they have a lot of job openings, advertisement for international agencies. So that was the main tool that I used, and I started applying for like jobs that I was interested. I applied to a couple of them and had interviews from summer throughout the fall semester. It was hard because of the time difference. I had to wake up like in the middle of the night to do the job interview. Usually like my pajama pants and the suit on top. But yeah, but I heard back from a couple of them. I had like some interviews planned after going back to Japan as well. But I heard back from Peace Winds that I got the job like a week before graduation, and the job description seemed like it was really what I wanted to do. So I accepted and started working for this organization like a week after graduation. So yeah, there wasn't much break between the program and the job, current job. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It seems like you were living the COVID Zoom lifestyle before the COVID Zoom lifestyle was a thing, with the pajama bottoms on the bottom and the professional attire on top. But yeah, thank you. That's really good to know. Yujeong, would you like to share?
Yeah, I didn't take the official route, like getting like interviews and those stuff, but like I guess like I was very passionate about like doing research on a specific topic. So I started searching like every faculty members at U of M on my first semester, and back then my English was very bad, and also I didn't understand like all of the terminology that was talked about in the class. But so also I got rejected a lot because I don't know, I guess like they're all busy, and like so I was very like actively advocating myself, like I can do this if I learn it. It doesn't matter if I get paid or not, I can volunteer as a research assistant. So that's why I got connected with 2 faculty members. I guess I reached out to like 10 or more, and I got like in touch with 2 wonderful faculty members I work with right now, Katie McGuire-Jack and Todd Herrincole. And I first started off as a volunteer. So I really learned how to like do research, do lit review. What's a lit review? Like, how do you do it? And how do you like organize data, process data, run analyses? Because I didn't know any of those skills. But I guess like it was my passion, and I did it really hard because I really liked the job. So then actually very thankfully both Todd and Katie like offered me like the job position, like I can pay you now. So thankfully I got that job right before my graduation, so I didn't have to worry much about like the OPT. So yep, that I guess it's like really building connections and really actively like contacting and like being explicit about what you want to learn and your passions. So yep, that's how I got my job.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful. And I think it's also reassuring to some students who are reaching out to faculty and maybe not always getting responses very quick, to know that it's not like Just it's a pretty common experience, and it doesn't mean that, you know, we should lose all hope. So definitely thank you for sharing that. And I think both of you kind of answered both questions together about the timeline and how you found your job. And so for any of you that are comfortable sharing, if you could please describe how you decided to stay in the US or to go work in another country. And if you did go to work in another country, so for Maki, for example, if you feel like how the MSW program prepared you or didn't prepare you for working outside of the US. Like Yujeong mentioned earlier in the panel, you do learn a lot about the US context. So if you feel like some of the things were transferable, if you feel like you got enough of a global perspective from being in GASP, for example, so anything that you can share about that would be great.
Okay, so in my case, I didn't stay in the US, and I think I said it in the intro, but as I was entering this program, I had this mindset that I want to work globally for an international agency. So I didn't specifically look for jobs within the US, but I wanted to build the experience in the program in Michigan and then take it back to my home country or like anywhere else in the world. So I didn't specify a country, but more so like look for international agencies working globally. And another reason why I didn't stay in the US was because right before entering the program, I got married and my husband stayed in Japan because of work. So I couldn't just like, you know, abandon him forever. So I decided to maybe focus on Japan-based international agencies for that reason. I think the GASP program definitely helped me prepare to work for international agencies because it provided me with, it gave me opportunities to take a lot of global related classes and the field placements, like I said earlier, the field placement in Greece, working with refugees and like the other agencies there really helped me and like visualize or actually experience what it is like to work in a refugee agency. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that definitely answered the question. Thank you. Yujeong or Tammy, does either one of you like to share?
Yeah, I can go next. I think to me, I think the social work foundation courses, I really love it because it tells me how to be a social work and what's the code of ethics and what is our core values to hold during our career. And I really love it. And I also think social work is a lifelong field, and you need to keep studying, and you need to interact with different kinds of people, and you need to, you know, interact with them. So, and I think what I learned, because my major was in community, so I think the first class I learned is community organization. I really love that class, and because I learned a lot of different models, how to interact with different population. And also I had one class is grief therapy, and it helped me just like being this position and hold all my feelings and with families and the patient and with my colleagues to go through day by day. And I decided to stay in the United States. I don't know, I think before just like I came to United States, I decided I don't want to go back. So maybe personally, I just like want to stay outside overseas. But right now, because I did my study in the US, so I think I need to practice here. And I was not in the, what's that? I was in the micro track, not in the micro track. So the micro, meso, micro. So I think I want to go through all of them, but I don't think I'm a policy person, and also I'm not interpersonal person. But right now I did doing a lot of interpersonal things. I don't know why, but I try kind of just like feel like, okay, yeah, I did learn something from the school, and I know how to do therapy, something like that, and I know a little bit about CBT. I can use that. I know something about grief therapy, and I can use that too. So maybe I think just like this is a journey that I need to go through different tracks, and I need to learn different kind of social work stuff. So I prefer to stay in the United States right now, because here they have good models, they have a good policy, and now just like they have mature policy, people know how to do works because they have been go through for so many years. So I think it's a good place for me to learn how to be a social work, what kind of social work I want to be. But yeah, staying in the United States for now. I told my friends, at least for the next 5 years, I will, stay in the New York City. I will try to figure out how to stay. But in the future, maybe go to another countries. But I feel like the basic values we hold is the same as a social worker. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yujeong, would you like to share, or would you rather we move to another question?
I can share. I decided to stay in the United States because my initial goal coming to the MSW program in United States was because I wanted to pursue a PhD in United States. And I have a very clear reason, because Korea's status of social work and mental health challenges are very behind. So we still, Koreans think if you have depression, you're crazy. And I wanted to really change that as a person who went through depression. And I also was very lucky enough to have parents who were very open about mental health issues. So my ultimate goal is to learn a lot from the United States and then bring some of those very good perspectives into the Korean system. That's my very big goal. But while I was staying here, I also saw a lot of pitfalls in the United States policies and systems, and the racism and systemic oppressions that I had no idea of when I was first coming here. So I really wish I can incorporate the good parts of not only Korea, but internationally. And I'm just really interested about that. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I'm just still I'm learning a lot about how important taking that global perspective is, because not one country is the best. We learn from each other. So yep, I'm staying in United States. I'm planning to stay in United States if I get into PhD. If I don't, I'll have to return back to Korea. So yep, that's my plan for now.
Thank you. Yeah, I think as international students, we do tend to, like a lot of students do, but specifically as international students, you do tend to see kind of that global perspective of oh, okay, this is something that's done well here. This is something that's not so great here. Maybe something that's done somewhere else. Being more open to that is definitely a trend that at least I've noticed in my interactions with other international students here. So it's nice to see I'm excited to see how you take it further as you progress in your career. And then I think let's start with the last questions for the purpose of time. And then if we have any other questions, either in the chat, we can answer those. Because I don't think, Yujeong, you're pursuing licensure. And Tammy already talked about it briefly. Maki, are you pursuing licensure? Okay, then I think we can move to the last question, which is generally if you have any advice for MSW international students who are graduating soon, for kind of if someone's interested in the track that you took, some things that you feel like you could share that would be helpful to them.
Maybe I can go. I think the first advice I want to share with everyone is just be brave to speak up, be brave to outreach, and be brave to trust yourself. And even though you are an international student, you can do whatever you want to do in the United States. And we're social worker students, and we're international social work students, and we're your alliance. So just like reach out to us, and yeah, and go through together. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I think I can like answer to some specific questions who are preparing for PhD programs. But yeah, for those who graduate soon, I think like my best like advice is like really plan ahead. I was very organized myself and very strategic in how I should plan out my time in the United States, and that allowed me like very valuable opportunities that I am having right now. And I have like many resources, like the Excel spreadsheet I use to reach out to faculty members, like I can share any of those if anyone is interested in applying to PhD programs. And yeah, like Tammy said, like I think like being very brave, that's like the number one, because I was that kind of student where like I wasn't able to speak English very well back then during my first semester, but like when there's a discussion, I would like raise my hand and try to like, you know, speak up and be involved. So I think that's very important.
Okay, just to add to Tammy and what Tammy and Julie said, just know that you have this advantage of having like graduated from the University of Michigan. If you're looking for jobs outside the US or within the US, like, but even outside the US, University of Michigan is a well-known university globally. So use that and just be confident, because the MSW program have prepared you a lot. So just be confident and use that. And also, like Julie said, if you know what you want to do, plan ahead and like start early. Because if you want to do, if you want to look for jobs for in an international agencies, usually like the whole application process takes months and months. So there's a lot of waiting and this anxiety moment. So if you plan early and start early, you will have that. You can be prepared well, but you'll be fine. So just be confident and good luck.
Thank you all so much. Really appreciate your time and everything you shared a lot. I know, like, for me as a current international student, I've learned a lot from all of you and this panel and just in other interactions like with Tammy and Yujeong, but I'm sure this is going to be super helpful, especially for people who are either graduating now or just starting the program, just in planning out how to navigate this entire process. So at this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but if anyone has any questions that you would like to send in the chat, it would be great if you could send them now, since we have just 3 minutes left. So if you have a really pressing question, if you would like to send it so everyone can answer it, or if you have specific question to anyone in particular, feel free to also send that as well.
I have a question.
You're more than welcome to ask questions too.
So Julia, so you are not in the OPT status right now?
No, I'm on my OPT right now. It's until next June, 2023 June. I graduated later than you because I had a baby during my program.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
So both of them have babies, except for me. Yeah, okay, so that's my question.
I actually also wanted to say, like, thank you for this global partners program that the International Center does, because like Maki, I remember like talking with her during like my first semester when I was like frustrated with all the English, and it's just a very valuable like relationship here through that program, and I enjoy mentoring other international students.
Yeah, I feel like we have been, meeting each other, so often for the past, I think, 1 year or maybe 2 years. I cannot even remember, You are always in my program. Yeah, we still have the video, Katie, right? And we saw your baby, getting older. Jeez. Maki, actually, we were in the same class, in 2019, and my first semester, I remember, yeah. I was so new that year. I had no idea what I was doing. Every class, I use my phone to record all the classes, and then I repeat to, listen to it. That was crazy. But it seems like everyone needs to go through, some period of time, yeah. It's so fun. I miss schools.
I think, Fang, you have your hand up if you'd like to unmute and ask a question or comment or anything.
Can I ask a question?
For sure, yeah.
Hi. Thank you so much for sharing experience with us. I remember one of you, first of all, I was surprised that you had 2 field placements back then when you're 20-month track. Now I found myself in a very awkward position because I insist to be on the 20-month track, and it's just so hard to find field placements in IT pathway. So I just feel I'm still up in the air. I don't know what to do, and I'm still waiting. And one of you even mentioned choose your field placements wisely, but how to choose it wisely? Like I would be grateful if I just get one, like whatever. Like how to choose it. Thank you.
I think that was me. So I honestly don't know how like the process of applying to field placement changed, but back then when I was a student, well, first of all, I talked with my field faculty. I told like very specifically what I wanted to do, which was therapy. But first, I didn't have any therapy jobs because there were no available places. And one place I didn't get in because like my English was so bad back then. So then I said like, okay, if I can't do therapy, I still want to do like children and youth and family work. And then I was able to like view a web page of like job descriptions of field placements. Is it still like that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think the way it was this year, which changed from what it was like last year when I applied. So I'm not 100%, but I think you could select kind of like criteria. So, and then it would show you a list of placements that fit within the criteria that you have.
It's like a database, but the information there is not reliable at all.
Really?
So some placements said, okay, if you search 20 months, it will show up. But then it says like it has to be 16 months.
Do you have a field faculty assigned to you?
I think so. Yeah.
I would.
But she didn't give me any option. She's like, these two are feed your interest, but they require you finish in like 16 months. But I was like, that's impossible. And they say, okay, let's have a student success meeting. So I'm waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, actually, that student success meeting is very helpful because that was also a meeting I did when I was pregnant and I didn't have any way to manage all the field placement and COVID and childcare and everything. And they made a lot of accommodations for me.
That's right.
So as I said, I would just actively like reach out to field faculty and say like, hey, these are some of the things that I really want to do. Can you help me with like searching for field placements? Like I'm struggling right now. And usually most of the field faculties are very, very kind. They will help you, but like if you don't reach out and explicitly like ask for that, they won't like reach out to you and say like, hey, do you need any help? So I would recommend doing that.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think the student success meetings are a great opportunity to just kind of talk more. And then I think, as Yujeong was saying, like really, having a conversation with them and letting them know. The other thing that I would say, so I do think you know, when you have choices, that's good. But I also think that often what makes students most successful in field is being open to different types of things than what you were expecting. So I think almost always, and I say this because I'm the field faculty for the students that do placements overseas. And so I think it's never, the expectations are never the same as what actually happens. But I think one of the things that I see that makes students most successful in field is being open to learning and being flexible. So just because it wasn't exactly what you were hoping for or what you envisioned at first, it's about transferable skills rather than like working in one particular type of agency or with one particular type of population. So Yujeong, I hear you talking about like, I wanted to do this and that didn't work. And so I did something else and there was value in that. I think that's one of the things that will make you successful because as you can see through Tammy's experience, right, you may start in one area and end up in a different area. And it's more about transferable skills than it is about a particular agency or a particular population. That being said, I get that there's things you'd like to do that are particular, and it's frustrating when they don't work out the way that you hope that they will. But I think that communication with the field faculty is one of the best avenues you have to try and to problem solve and to, make it work.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for the question. If any of you need to sign off at any point, by the way, you are more than free to do so. We're very grateful for the time that you've already given. So if you need to sign off, that's totally fine. If you'd like to stay on and answer any additional questions, you're welcome to. But yeah, I just don't want anyone to feel pressure to have to stay. Does anyone else have any questions, any comments?
Hello, thank you for sharing. I have a question to Tammy. You said, I don't understand your status of your visa. After graduation, you said your employee gave you payment for your visa. I don't understand the systems of working visa in the United States.
So yeah, actually, as an international student, in social work field, we have 1 year OPT. So optional training, OPT, optional practical training. So you have 1 year, you can stay here in the United States, so it's legal. So after 1 year OPT, you need to either apply for H-1B, so it's working visa. So you can apply for it. So it's a lottery base. So many people apply for it. So they will pick up, several of them. Okay, you got the H-1B. So the H-1B sponsorship, maybe you are asking for. So when you look for a job, you need to ask for your employer, will you be able to sponsor my H-1B visa? So if they are willing to do so, they will apply for you for the H-1B visa. Otherwise, if this company is not willing to sponsor your H-1B, which means after 1 year OPT, it's quite difficult for you to get another job. Because H-1B, I think every year it's around in the late March and early April, they will do the lottery. So you need to apply for it by March.
Yeah, so just to clarify a bit, in case you don't know generally like what the work visa situation is like, when you apply for OPT, you get to stay and look for jobs and work without already having someone who has agreed to take you on and to, sponsor you for a work visa. So it is more flexible for your first year. For an H-1B visa, you need to have an employer who is willing to sponsor you and pay some of the fees and apply on your behalf. So that's why for a lot of international students, they try to get an employer who's willing to do that when they're already in their OPT, because then during that year, they can really show like, hey, I'm such a great employee, you really want to sponsor me. And they already have an established relationship with them rather than waiting to finish the OPT and then like applying for a job and managing that would be a bit complicated. It's not impossible, but it is a complicated process.
Yeah, I just want to end here. So actually, for example, the H-1B lottery this year is for the next year's visa status. So if you want to continue to work in the United States, you better to just like get the lottery in the year of OPT. Then after OPT finish, so the next year you get the H-1B, okay, you can continue to do that. Otherwise, you need to wait for 1 year. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if I just like explained
Sorry,
that.
could you say that again? Sorry.
So
I
if
didn't
you
understand.
don't, so for example, you graduate in 2022 this year, December, and you need to apply for H-1B in 2023 March. Then if you get the lottery, you can continue to work from 2024 March and the following 3 years.
Okay.
I think, Aki, we can provide you with some more information or connect you with the International Center too, because it's a pretty specific process. But I think that the takeaway is that for a year after you graduate, you have the opportunity to stay in the US on OPT. It can be work-based. It can also, some of your time can be volunteer-based. And that's a time that you can be looking for other jobs that would include a visa sponsorship. So OPT is temporary. It's only for a year for social workers. Before then, you need to have some type of employer where you're being paid and they're sponsoring for your visa to stay. And so Tammy and Yujeong are both doing OPT as their way of staying here. And then, you know, one of them hoping to transfer into a PhD program and one of them hoping to transfer to an H-1B visa. So it's kind of an additional year that you're allowed to be here as you're trying to find employment. But we're happy to connect you with some more. The International Center does a lot of advising around this, and so we can connect you with colleagues that can explain it more.
Oh, thank you so much. That would be very helpful. And thank you, Tammy.
Yeah, and last winter semester we had a coffee hour about this topic, and it was recorded about like general work for international students either during their degree, like on campus, and afterwards. We have that recording. It's on the SSW intranet. I'll send you the link if you're interested, but you can find it there on the, if you go on the School of Social Work website, on the My SSW intranet, on the international student section of it. The recording for that coffee hour is there.
Yeah, actually, I attended the last coffee hour, right?
Yeah, so that was another one that happened in the semester of last year, and it was with someone from the
okay. Yeah, I will check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I just want to say thank you to all three panelists for being willing to, I know we had to make the whole time change thing work to accommodate folks in Japan and folks here and people working full days. So I just appreciate the three of you sharing your advice, sharing your experience. I think it's invaluable for students to kind of see how you all navigate it. And to know that, you know, things are never certain and you have to, you know, be able to kind of work through it all. But I think you all shared really, you know, valuable advice for everyone, and just appreciate your time and, you know, your willingness to give back.
Yeah, so thank you all so much. It's been lovely having you and seeing some of you again, meeting some of you for the first time. I think if no one has any other questions, I think we're good to wrap things up. Let me know if you are okay with us sharing your emails with students who might view this and might be interested in. Great. You're awesome. Well, thank you. So yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you for everyone who attended too. We hope this was helpful to you. And yeah, I'm going to be stopping the recording now.